The California sun beat down on the affluent neighborhood of Brentwood, casting long shadows as the day surrendered to dusk.
Yeah.
It was June 12, 1994, a seemingly ordinary summer night that was about to be shattered by an extraordinary tragedy.
Right.
Imagine the shock that rippled through the community when the lifeless bodies of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman were discovered.
Oh, yeah.
Nicole, a vibrant woman, recently divorced from NFL star O.J. Simpson,
Right.
and Ron, a young waiter with dreams of Hollywood,
Yeah.
their lives brutally cut short.
Tragic.
This wasn't just another crime.
No.
It was a story that would captivate the world,
Really
a
was.
whirlwind of celebrity accusations,
Yeah.
and a trial that gripped a nation.
It really did.
You probably heard of the O.J. Simpson case,
Of course.
maybe even watched the documentaries or miniseries.
Yeah.
But what truly unfolded behind the headlines? What details get lost in the retellings? That's what we're here to explore.
Right.
To take a deep dive into the complexities of this case. That's right.
To uncover the layers beneath the surface.
Absolutely. Welcome to CrimePod Castle's Twisted Crime series.
Yes.
This case, as you mentioned, is one that continues to fascinate and haunt us,
Right.
even decades later.
To understand the gravity of it all, we need to rewind the clock.
Yes.
Go back to the beginning.
To the beginning.
Before the flashing lights of police cars, before the courtroom drama, there was a love story.
Right.
A whirlwind romance between a beautiful waitress and a charismatic football star.
It was.
Nicole Brown and O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
A couple that seemed to have it all.
They
They
did.
married in 1985, built a life together,
Yeah.
had 2 beautiful children.
It did.
But behind the facade of a picture-perfect family, darkness was brewing.
Oh, yeah.
There were whispers, rumors of a turbulent marriage,
Uh-huh.
of arguments that escalated beyond raised voices.
Oh, of course.
The whispers grew louder, the rumors more insistent.
And in 1992, those whispers materialized into a legal separation,
Oh, wow.
then divorce.
Right.
Nicole cited irreconcilable differences.
Of course.
But court documents and later testimony painted a chilling picture of domestic abuse. There were documented incidents of physical violence,
Oh,
verbal threats,
wow.
and a controlling behavior that cast a long shadow over their relationship.
Sad.
And in the midst of this already fractured relationship enters Ron Goldman,
Okay.
a young man who would tragically become entwined in this complex narrative.
Right.
Ron, just coming 5 years old,
Wow, that's so young.
was a waiter at a local restaurant,
Hmm.
an aspiring actor with a bright smile and a kind heart.
That's nice.
He was the friend of Nicole's,
Okay.
and on that fateful June night, he was simply returning a pair of sunglasses that Nicole's mother had left behind at the restaurant.
Oh, wow.
A simple act of kindness that would place him in the wrong place at the absolute worst time.
Really is tragic.
It's heartbreaking to think about, isn't it? 2 lives
It is.
full of potential,
Yeah.
extinguished in a moment of violence.
It's terrible.
The scene that greeted the police that night was gruesome,
I bet.
a testament to the brutality of the attack.
I can imagine.
Nicole was found outside her Brentwood condo, lying in a pool of blood.
Oh, my goodness.
The severity of her wounds, unimaginable.
Yeah.
And just a short distance away, Ron's body was discovered.
Oh, God.
His wounds suggesting a desperate struggle, a valiant attempt to fight back against his attacker.
It's terrible.
The brutality of the crime immediately sent shockwaves through the community,
Yeah.
and investigators quickly focused their attention on one person, O.J. Simpson.
Okay.
What led them down that path?
Yeah.
Was it simply because he was the ex-husband?
Well, the evidence found at the crime scene painted a rather damning picture.
Okay.
OJ's blood was found at the scene.
Oh, wow.
And even more incriminating, a bloody glove was discovered on his property
Ow.
that matched one found near the bodies.
Wow.
It was a gruesome jigsaw puzzle, and the pieces seemed to be fitting together.
A bloody glove.
Yeah.
It's almost hard to believe something so seemingly mundane could become such a crucial piece of evidence
Right.
in such a high-profile case.
I know, it's crazy.
And it doesn't end there.
No.
Footprints at the crime scene matched a rare type of Bruno Magli shoe, a shoe that, as fate would have it,
Yeah.
O.J. Simpson owned.
Of course he did.
It's like each piece of evidence investigators uncovered
Yeah.
pointed them further in O.J.'s direction.
Exactly.
It sounds like the case against him was building rapidly.
It really was.
But there was another layer to this already complex story.
Uh-oh.
O.J.'s behavior in the immediate aftermath of the murders raised serious red flags.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What did he do?
His actions, his statements to the police,
Yeah.
they were inconsistent,
Okay.
sometimes contradictory.
Oh, really?
It was as if he was trying to weave a narrative that simply didn't align with the evidence.
Wow.
And then came one of the most surreal events in American history, the infamous Bronco chase.
Oh, yes.
You remember?
The white Bronco speeding down the Los Angeles freeway.
Hmm.
Helicopters overhead, millions glued to their television screens.
I know.
Watching this bizarre drama unfold live,
It's crazy.
I remember feeling like I was in a movie.
Yeah?
Completely captivated and disturbed all at once.
Right.
Could you imagine what must have been going through his mind during that chase?
It was a moment that transcended a simple police pursuit.
Yeah.
It was a media spectacle, a symbol of the celebrity culture that was already beginning to grip the nation.
Right.
And at the heart of it all was O.J. Simpson,
Yeah.
a fallen hero, now a fugitive in the eyes of the law.
The chase eventually ended and O.J. was arrested, setting the stage for what would become known as the trial of the century.
And that's where the story takes yet another turn, a turn into the realm of legal strategy, media frenzy, and a societal divide that the case would bring into sharp focus.
Oh, wow.
The trial itself was a masterclass in legal strategy, a clash of titans in the courtroom. You had the prosecution led by Marcia Clark and Christopher Darden presenting a mountain of evidence, meticulously piecing together a narrative of guilt.
They had the DNA evidence, the bloody glove, the footprints. It seemed like an open and shut case, right?
On the surface, yes, but the defense led by the charismatic Johnny Cochran had a different strategy altogether. They weren't focused on proving O.J.'s innocence. Instead, they set out to dismantle the prosecution's case piece by piece, casting doubt on every shred of evidence.
So they weren't saying he didn't do it. They were saying the prosecution couldn't prove he did it.
Exactly, and they did this by masterfully playing on the existing tensions in American society, specifically the issue of race and the LAPD's troubled history with the black community.
The LAPD had a reputation for racial profiling, for brutality, for not exactly being the most trustworthy institution, especially in communities of color.
The defense seized upon this, highlighting instances of alleged misconduct in the investigation, suggesting evidence tampering and painting a picture of O.J. as a victim of a system that was rigged against him from the start.
And this resonated with the jury.
It did, especially with black jurors who were all too familiar with the systemic biases that often permeated the justice system. The defense's strategy was brilliant, if controversial. They took a case that seemed overwhelmingly stacked against their client and turned it into a referendum on race and police misconduct in America.
And then there's the moment that became a cultural touchstone, the phrase that echoed through the courtroom and beyond. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
The glove, that crucial piece of evidence that seemed to seal O.J.'s fate, became a symbol of the defense's strategy when O.J. struggled to put on the leather glove in court. It created a powerful visual, a moment of doubt that the defense exploited to the fullest.
I could only imagine the tension in the courtroom during that moment. Did the prosecution try to explain why the glove might not have fit?
They did, suggesting that the glove might have shrunk due to being soaked in blood, or that O.J. might have been wearing latex gloves underneath, which could have altered the fit.
Did those arguments sway the jury?
No, not entirely. The image of O.J. struggling with the glove, coupled with Johnny Cochran's masterful use of language and emotion, created a lasting impression. It became a focal point of the trial, a moment that overshadowed much of the other evidence presented.
After months of testimony, evidence, and media scrutiny, the jury finally delivered its verdict on October 3, 1995. O.J. Simpson was found not guilty. It must have been a seismic moment, both in the courtroom and for the nation watching at home.
The gasps, the tears, the celebrations, the outrage, it was a moment that exposed a deep chasm in American society, a chasm that ran along racial lines.
You had white Americans largely expressing disbelief, anger, a sense that justice hadn't been served, while in the black community there was a sense of relief, of validation, a feeling that for once the system had worked in their favor.
It's fascinating, isn't it, how one verdict could evoke such diametrically opposed reactions. It speaks to the power of perspective, to the way our lived experiences shape our understanding of the world around us.
The O.J. Simpson trial wasn't just a legal battle. It was a cultural phenomenon, a mirror reflecting the complexities of race, justice, and celebrity in America.
And while the criminal trial may have ended with a not guilty verdict, the story was far from overhapping. Nicole's and Ron's families, still reeling from their loss, were determined to seek justice in a different arena, the civil court.
What was the difference between the criminal trial and the civil trial? What were they hoping to achieve? So the criminal trial may have ended, But this wasn't truly over for the families.
No, not at all. You see, in a criminal trial, the prosecution needs to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
Right.
A very high bar to clear. But in a civil trial, the standard is preponderance of the evidence, meaning it's more likely than not that the defendant is responsible.
That's a much lower standard to meet.
Yes, it is, and that difference proved crucial in this case. In 1997, the families of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman filed a wrongful death lawsuit against O.J. Simpson.
Okay.
They weren't seeking to put him behind bars again. They were seeking accountability recognition that he was responsible for the loss of their loved ones and some measure of financial compensation for their immeasurable grief.
It must have been an incredibly difficult decision for the families to pursue this civil trial after the emotional roller coaster of the criminal trial.
I'm sure it was reliving the trauma facing O.J. in court again. It couldn't have been easy. But their determination to see some form of justice served is powerful, and in the end, the civil jury reached a different verdict than the criminal jury. They found O.J. liable for the deaths of Nicole and Ron, awarding a substantial sum of $33.5 million in damages to the families.
Did he ever pay that amount?
Well, that's where things get even more complicated. While a significant portion of that judgment remained unpaid, the civil trial provided a sense of validation for the families, a legal acknowledgement that O.J. was indeed responsible for their loss.
So 2 trials, 2 different verdicts, and a nation forever divided. It's hard to fathom the emotional toll this entire ordeal must have taken on everyone involved.
It's a story that underscores the complexities of our justice system, the nuances of legal proceedings, and the deep-seated societal issues that often intersect with such high-profile cases. And while the legal battles may have concluded, the conversation about the O.J. Simpson case continues to this day.
The case transcended the realm of true crime. It became a cultural phenomena, a lens through which we examined issues of race, domestic violence, and the power of celebrity. It sparked crucial conversations that we're still grappling with as a society.
Exactly. And while the legal outcomes may be a matter of public record, the questions it raised about race justice and media influence are far from settled. These are questions we all need to continue to grapple with, to learn from, and hopefully to grow from.
We've explored the evidence, the legal strategies, the societal impact. But there's one crucial element that deserves our attention. The issue of domestic violence in this case tragically highlighted the devastating consequences of abuse and the importance of recognizing the warning signs.
You're right. The evidence presented during both trials painted a disturbing picture of O.J. Simpson as an abuser.
Right.
There were reports of physical altercations, verbal threats, and controlling behavior, a pattern of abuse that spanned years, and tragically it culminated in the ultimate act of violence.
It's a stark reminder that domestic violence is not a private matter. It's a societal issue that demands our attention, our intervention, and our unwavering support for victims.
And it's a reminder that we all have a role to play in recognizing the signs of abuse, offering support to those who may be in danger, and working together to break the cycle of violence.
If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, please know that you are not alone. There are resources available to help. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is a great place to start. You can reach them 24/7 by phone or online. They can provide support guidance and connect you with local resources. Remember, there is hope and there is help.
This deep dive into the O.J. Simpson case has been a journey through a complex and often troubling chapter in American history.
Yes, it has.
It's a story that continues to resonate, to challenge our perceptions, and to remind us of the importance of seeking justice, understanding, and compassion.
We hope this deep dive has given you a new perspective on this case, on the issues it raised, and on the importance of continuing the conversation. Remember, knowledge is power, and by understanding the complexities of such cases, we can all contribute to creating a safer, more just, and more compassionate world.
If you'd like to explore more fascinating true crime stories and deep dives, be sure to subscribe to CrimePod Castle wherever you get your podcasts.
And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel for additional content, including video discussions and case files. Thanks for joining us on this journey, and we'll see you in the next episode.